Yeah, excuse me. What's the deal? How y'all been, man? It's your player partner, Bobby A. Jones, coming at you once again. I have been on a brief hiatus um for a few days. About what, 2 or 3 days I haven't been making any content. And I want to explain to you why. The reason why I haven't been on here in the last 2 or 3 days because I have been navigating through this experience called life. Um, and I suggest everybody do this, right? When you're battling depression, anxiety, and mental health conditions, one of the best things for you to do is have an action plan. Have something that you can go to help you get back to your what is the word? I think they call it homeostasis or something like that. Have a plan, man. What my plan is I self isolate when I'm dealing with anxiety, depression, and I'm just battling, a lot of hardships in life. I don't complain, I don't cry, I don't lash out. But the number one thing that I go to because it's a part of my action plan is I self isolate. I don't self isolate so that I can waddle in my depression and block the world out and run from the world. No, I self isolate because even as a kid, I had came to the understanding and the realization. This is my perspective that I'm all that I have in life. So when I'm facing and battling, big challenges and whatnot, I self isolate because I have been doing it all of my life. It's effective. It works for me. I self isolate and then I prioritize my problems and then I start to navigate through it. You feel what I'm saying? See, what a lot of people's got to understand is when you're battling depression, stress, and a plethora of other mental health conditions and whatnot, you first and foremost have to be optimistic and know that everything is going to play itself out at an appropriate time, and hard times don't last long, but strong minds prevail, right? And then you also have to understand that you can't get the progress unless you go through the process. You got to go through it to get to it. So when I be faced with challenges, man, yes, I do self isolate and I need to get people around me because sometimes they can be a distraction because they're not vibing on the same frequency that I'm vibing on. So I have to remove myself from a lot of individuals. And I have been in a relationship, right? To where I'm going through or I'm navigating through challenges in my life. I don't want to say struggles because struggles it has negative connotations to it. But when I say challenges, that means that you can navigate through this, you can overcome this. So when I'm going through challenges in my life, I like to self-isolate. But a lot of women that I have dealt with be like, why you run? Why you shut down? Why you do this and why you do that? I have to do what's effective for me to navigate through this shit. I have to do what I know has been working for me for years since I was a kid. The most difficult situations that I have navigated through in my life has been by my own endurance, understanding, resiliency. It's been me. It's always been Bobby A. Jones navigating through these hardships. When I lost, and this is kind of difficult for me to talk about, but when I lost my son, that was the biggest challenge that I have ever faced. And yes, I did have my family there surrounding me to support me through that grieving process. But outside of that, and I don't want people to hear this and say, "Oh man, when his son passed, we was there and whoopty whoop and so on and so forth." Yes, I appreciate everybody that was there, but typically when I'm navigating through challenges, I do it alone because I know how to get through what it is that I'm going through. Sometimes when you're navigating through challenges, a lot of people want to put their emotional burdens and they want to add their problems to your problems. And typically us who are strong, we allow people to do that, but you have to know what you can take and what you can't take, because if you continue to endure and don't have a mission, don't have a purpose, don't have an understanding of what's going on and what's the end goal, and you're letting everybody unload onto you, you're gonna reach a breaking point. You're gonna hit a wall. You feel what I'm saying? And we don't want to hit that wall. So we got to understand how much can we take. And when we say, you know what, I didn't talk about all I can take, I need to go to my action plan. And that's what it is. Just to kind of invite you into my personal life before we jump into the topic. Yeah, man, I just been, just navigating through some pretty interesting things. And I have been doing it, like a champion, man. I've been when individuals are creating things to hinder me or to castigate me. You know what I mean? God got me. You feel what I'm saying? I just had a situation with Allstate Insurance, right? One of my cars is in a shop, but they've been dragging their feet. I have been paying money. I have been doing this. I have been doing a whole lot of things coming out of pocket, right? But at some point in time, that becomes a financial burden upon me. So I'm calling the insurance company. I get into it with this guy named Keith. He's talking to me in a very condescending way. I'm grown. As you all can see, I'm a good articulator. I know how to communicate. And when I'm communicating with individuals, the last thing that I want to do is offend you or make you feel unappreciated or disrespected. But this Caucasian guy, he's speaking down to me like I'm a child. So I said, hey, look, slow down, partner. We're not going to communicate on this level because communicating like this, it can create a misunderstanding. But he's still rah, 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 rah. So I cuss him out, whoopty whoop, and all that. He's being unprofessional. I done took all that I can take. Then I have to defend myself. So I asked to speak to a supervisor, and you can tell that he had already prepped his supervisor on how to interact with me. He had already, stereotyped me, right? And by the way that I articulate, even though I can use sesquipedalian words and collegiate words, you can tell that I'm a nigga. I'm a black. You're gonna automatically tell that, right? So she get on the phone. She's very condescending, belittling, trying to demean me. Oh, why would you rent a Lexus? And woman, I drive a Lexus. What's the problem with me being accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle and instruments and things of that lifestyle that accommodates the individual that I am? What's the problem with me being comfortable with that type of luxury? Why would I not rent a car that I know is reliable, good on gas? You shouldn't have did that, and you're Ruthie Wood, and she's just coming at me with all this hostility and unprofessionalism. So you know what I did? I called through a bitch, and I hung up in her face. So the next time that I talked to the Caucasian, both of these individuals is Caucasian. So the next time that I talked to the Caucasian guy, Keith, he basically tells me nobody's going to be able to do anything on your case. It's a wrap. We ain't giving you nothing. And I spent probably like let's say over $1,500 on transportation and whatnot since my automobile has been down. So what they gave me as fair and equitable compensation to the money that I have been putting out to correct a situation from their client is $120. So you mean to tell me I just spent over 1,500 motherfucking dollars, and all you gonna give me is $120? See, now y'all playing with me. Then every time I shoot an email, because you got to make sure that you create documentation when you're interacting with these individuals, just to have that paper trail in case it goes into litigation. But make a long story short, the dude was just unprofessional and giving me ultimatums and just kind of like, you know what I mean? But it's all good. I navigated through that by the grace of God. God has blessed me with this person who was able to do something to get into the system. And once that person got into the system, it was like, Mr. Jones, this isn't right. Why did they do that? Why did they do this? Why did they do this? And number one, why did they try to block the file as if they're trying to hide something, cover something up? It's been other things that I've been navigating through too, as well. It's a tow company out here in Las Vegas, and what they do, they deliberately go into communities where the demographic is a high population or concentration of African Americans, and they have a person that they work with to tell them, oh, that's an African American car, that's an African American car. So they come over here, they put a notice on my Porsche. I got a Porsche Cayenne. They put a notice on there. So myself and my son's mother, we get together, we get it up to the proper standards and whatnot. We fix the problems that they said needed to be fixed, and they still came and told my so now when I go down there, this Caucasian male, he's very belligerent and he's very demeaning in his communication and all that. So man, I throw a nutty in that motherfucker at this point in time. And it's certain things that I'm navigating through in my life that I don't feel comfortable disclosing right now. But you got all these things that's going on in your life, and these people is playing with you. So I throw a nutty. I go crazy. I tell him, man, bring your from behind and glance. And I'm going crazy. Man, I'm like the Incredible Hulk in that mother. And he seen that I wasn't there to be played with. So he leave. And he have the Hispanic lady to service me. So the first thing first, I don't want her to feel that my hostility is towards her. So I apologize for my conduct, just to be more professional so she don't stereotype me and look at me as the angry black man, because that's what they're quick to do. Even though we can be in a right, when we give off aggressive emotions, it's like he's an angry black man or he's this and he's that. So, in essence, going back to what I'm saying, man, know what you can take in life and know when it's time for you to use that action plan. You know what I mean? My action plan, depending on the level of depression and anxiety that I'm facing, what I do, I refrain from eating carbs, an abundance of carbs. I haven't eaten any bread, um, cupcakes, no junk food, no none of that in about, it's going on 2 months. You feel what I'm saying? I started noticing I was getting developing these dark spots on my cheeks and shit as I was gaining more and more weight. And they said that's because of insulin resistance. So I'm like, no, I gotta change this. And then when certain chemicals start being overproduced in the body, it produces cortisol, or it triggers something in the body to where cortisol is being produced. And cortisol is the stress hormone. That's what a lot of people deal with when they're dealing with depression, anxiety attacks, and stress and feeling overwhelmed. It's cortisol. So you got to create a plan that counteracts, or get that cortisol production in balance. You know what I mean? You got to get everything balanced out. But me, I don't mind going outside, taking off my shoes and doing some grounding. I don't mind refraining from eating certain substances and whatnot that produce negative hormones in the body, that trigger certain things, that produces negative emotions and feelings like depression, anxiety, and just feeling overwhelmed and whatnot. And it's a few other things that I do, but mental health is some real shit, homie. And please pay attention to your loved ones. And hold on 1 minute. Who is it? Who? Oh, hold on. God damn. Hey, I'll be back. Hold on. Hold on. Okay, I'm not gonna leave. Let me do this. Let me do this. Y'all give me 1 minute. That's my daughter. Yo, I'm back. All right. So I don't want to bloviate, but make sure that you pay attention to your mental health and pay attention to your strong loved ones and whatnot. You feel me? Start doing, welfare checks and routine check-ins on your loved ones and whatnot. You feel me? Because you never know, everybody may not be as resilient. Everybody may not be as strong as you, and everybody may not be able to endure the situations, complications, and challenges that life be throwing at them. You feel what I'm saying? Especially us being people of color, man. We really be having a weight of the world on our shoulders, and it's like nobody cares and nobody gives a fuck, and people just don't care about our overall well-being when it comes to us. So that's why I emphasize the importance of us looking after us understanding us giving us what we need to continue to truck through this experience called life. But let's get into the content. Latino influencers express their hatred, jealousy, envy, and frustration for blacks. The purpose of me sharing this is not to incite a race war, or I don't want to say segregation, because I believe we should segregate from everybody that's not us. Um, the biggest mistake that we made as a people was pushing for integration too soon. We cannot integrate with others until we have a lifestyle, or we have civilizations and societies, communities that's the equivalent of our white counterparts. When we believed in, when y'all, not me, I'm gonna just be straight up about that. When Black Americans began to believe in the poison that Dr. Martin Luther King was preaching when he said, I have a dream to be integrated with whites, that wasn't the right move for us. We were still coming out of slavery, so we're still dealing with generational trauma. We're still dealing with generational trauma. We're dealing with the trauma of being segregated. We're dealing with the trauma of, being viewed as less than. We're dealing with the trauma of racism. We're dealing with so much trauma, right? But even through that trauma, we was able to create Black Wall Street, Seneca Village, and a couple of other communities that was the equivalent of the white individuals that were destroyed, sabotaged, and all that. So I say all this to say this. Martin Luther King set us back when he got us to integrate and believe in his personal dream, far too soon. We were not supposed to integrate. We were supposed to continue to work on one another, work on our individual selves, and begin to give and continue to give each other understanding, compassion. We were supposed to educate one another. We were supposed to build up one another. You feel what I'm saying? Now that we send our kids to their education system, it's failing our kids. In the 1970s and the 1980s, they did a what is it called? Not a census, but a study, right? They did a study and said that in most urban communities where Blacks are the dominant race, predominant race, that they were graduating functional illiterates, individuals who were not supposed to be graduating. They was graduating them just to keep them through that system, just to kick them out of the system. And we all know, because it's been statistically proven, that those who are undereducated have a higher likely or probability of being incarcerated. So they keep us undereducated, because if you're educated, you can communicate. The lowest form of communication is violence. We're so violent with one another because we don't know how to think rationally and properly and thoroughly utilize communication to mitigate some of the things that we be facing. You feel what I'm saying? So, saying all that to say this, Latino influencers express their hatred, jealousy, envy, and frustration for Blacks. Let's get into the content. Pay attention, man. It ain't just that fat neck mother dude. It's not just that dude, LA icon. It's they politicians. It's individuals that's in influential positions that can create or support bills and laws that's discriminatory towards us. So we got to pay attention. LA icon, he's a chump, he's a buster, he's a Levi. But when the individuals who are in political positions begin to sound off and talk about their frustration and hatred towards us and Juneteenth and so on and so forth, we need to pay attention. Let's get into the content. Listen to what she said about Juneteenth, Kim, folks. And shout out African Diaspora News Channel. Shout out to them for the content. Let's get into it.
Because she looks a lot older. But anyway, I'm about to tell you about is a woman by the name of Valentina Gomez. She is running to be the Secretary of State of Missouri. Now, she is only 25, and I'll put the emphasis on only because she looks a lot older. But anyway, I digress. She doesn't like that Black Americans get a national holiday called Juneteenth, right? You guys know that in 2021, President Joe Biden signed Juneteenth in as a federal holiday, but Black people have been celebrating it way before then. In fact, the first time it was celebrated was 1866. So Joe Biden didn't do us any favors, but nevertheless, Miss Gomez has a problem with it. Now, she says that Juneteenth is ratchet and that she agrees with that of Candace Owens. And if we don't like it, we should get the F out of America. Wow. But I want y'all to listen to her. Check it out.
Reparations from slavery and Black victimization is about to be shoved down our throats for the most ratchet holiday in America.
Wow.
BLM raised millions, but what did they do for Black lives? It is outrageous to see people asking for reparations, even though they never went through slavery. These ungrateful people should be celebrating because they were born in the greatest nation to ever exist. Here's a tip. If you don't like America, find me. Get the fuck out.
So y'all heard her say that, why should we get something? We weren't slaves. And again, if we don't like it, we should get the F out. Now, she had Metro Boomin's song BBL Drizzy playing in the background, a Black American, by the way. But if y'all also picked up on something, Miss Gomez had an accent. Well, that's because she was born in Colombia. So she's an immigrant. She's an immigrant, then came over here, I'm assuming with her parents at the age of, she's 25 now, mind you, 25. So she's a baby in the larger scheme of things. And she gonna get up on her Twitter and tell black people, if we don't like it, we should get out.
Wow. We built this country.
We should get out.
Some of us was already
Well,
here
first of all,
before slavery.
we were already
came over
here when
before
you
the
and your folks
Europeans
got
came.
here. Now you gonna come over here and tell us what we need to do? How about this? If you don't like us celebrating Juneteenth, why don't you get out? And they said she's very controversial. She has a whole lot of hateful things to say about a whole lot of people. And now, mind you, she's running as a Republican to be the Secretary of State for Missouri.
Wow. Wow. This is crazy. See, okay. We were not slaves, right? Okay, we know that, right? But the effects of slavery are effects, systems, and trauma that still affect us right now today. It still affects us, especially when they were doing redlining, to where if you were black, you cannot own or buy or live in certain parts of the country, the city, your community, so on and so forth. We weren't slaves, but we're still affected in trying to overcome the trauma, generational trauma that our ancestors and our grandparents, parents had to face through Jim Crow, racial segregation, mistreatment, racism. We're still dealing with racism. We still are traumatized people. See, individuals really don't understand the effects of trauma. When your grandmother talks about how the white man used to beat her parents, and how when she was in Mississippi, my grandmother's from one of my grandmothers is from Mississippi by way of Oklahoma. Her mother was part Native, so she was actually born on a Indian reservation in Oklahoma. Then they migrated to whatever. But when your grandparents talk about the trauma that they were forced to undergo when they were in the South, and how when they came out here, they still found themselves facing racism when the spook hunters used to come into Watts and surrounding areas that was predominantly black and kidnap people, beating black men to inches within death. When you're hearing these stories, right, that's called complex trauma. You want to know why a lot of therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists unalive themselves? Is because every day that they sit on that couch and they hearing these dramatic tales of how a person was traumatized like this, or brutally beaten like this, or all this, right? Then they start to think of the world as being a negative and hostile place. And a lot of these therapists, they can't do it no more. Some of them check out. A lot of therapists develop mental health disorders just for being therapists. It is the truth. It's called complex trauma. Complex trauma is when you didn't experience it, but I give you my account of what happened to me, and you hearing how that happened to me makes you think it can happen to you. So you're traumatized by my reaccount of what happened to me when I experienced a traumatic situation. We're still dealing with complex trauma. And then we have acute trauma, and then we're still dealing with chronic trauma. We still have trauma, complex trauma, that goes all the way back to when we were enslaved. We still affected by it. So you mean to tell me y'all can play ball, y'all can have 5 people on y'all team, we only got 2 people on our team, and y'all run up the scoreboard to 250. And then y'all say, okay, now we're going to bring referees in that's not biased. We're going to bring referees in that's not racial, and we're going to give y'all 3 other people. That's not equitable, because the game has already been stacked against us, and y'all so far ahead of us to where no matter what we do, we can never catch up. And then when we start putting the LeBron and the Kobe and the Michael Jordans on y'all and all that, then y'all want to call a technical foul, and you know what I mean? Y'all still working against us when we show, okay, yeah, we can close in this deficit because we're stronger, we intelligent, we know how to play, we know how to stop certain places coming against us. Y'all still want to come in and make it an unlevel playing field. So we still dealing with the effects of trauma and slavery, the after effects of slavery. Like, come on, man. Our people built this nation. This nation will not be great with us. If we all went on an exodus, right? And we say, you know what, we all gonna go to Nigeria, or we're gonna go to the Congo, or we're gonna go here and we're gonna go there. Within 3 years, whatever country we go to is gonna be booming. That country is gonna begin to set trends. That country is going to begin to get the notoriety that America get, the acknowledgement that America get. So, like, let's not play games, man. America would not be America without the African Americans here. The reason why they won the war of 1776, I believe, the British American War, the reason why they won is because they started getting slaves to go and fight the war. The reason why they won the Civil War, the Union, because they had an abundance of African Americans that was fighting for them. A lot of these wars that they're fighting right now today, the reason why they won, the reason why they won or had a dog in a fight is because of the African Americans. So let's stop playing, man. Man, a lot of scientific breakthroughs, a lot of scientific discoveries, a lot of inventions were actually created by us, but they stole the rights to it because they looked at us as being less than human, so they snatched it up. So let's be honest, man, we contributed more to this country than we took from it, or whatever negative things I have to say about us being here. Like, let's stop playing. Let's get back into the content, man. I got another one for you. It's important for us to start loving one another, man. It's important for us to unify. We don't have no friends outside one another.
A few years ago,
CRM software doesn't have to be so complex.
My bad. I should have had that together already.
California put together a reparations committee that would decide how much California descendant of slavery would get, because no Black Americans who are descendants of slavery has gotten anything for the horrors that our ancestors experienced during slavery, Jim Crow, and even now, right? So California is like, okay, let's make it right. Well, of course, the usual suspects of white supremacy, they always got something to say about you guys weren't slaves and we didn't.
Because one of these Latinos who are a white supremacist says most African are third world countries. What the fuck you think Mexico is? You name me a Latino community, you name me a Latino country right now that's not a third world country. Oh, wait, Mexico is a third world country. Honduras is a third world country. Nicaragua, third world country. Colombia, third world country. You name me a Latino or a Hispanic country, because y'all not Spanish. Y'all talk Spanish and say, oh, blacks, yeah, this and that. And y'all talk all this SHIT in a European language. You're not Spanish. You're not from Spain. You were conquered by the Spanish the same way we were conquered by the Europeans, the Germans, and the French. Well, when I say Europeans, let me be more specific. The English, a little bit of the French when you get into the South, Louisiana, Mississippi, so on and so forth. The Spanish in certain parts of the United States, like Texas, Florida, so on and so forth. We were conquered by the same demented, diabolical, cynical individuals. So when Mexicans and people who are from the Latino community start saying this and saying that, y'all ain't no different from us. The only thing is, when they tried to enslave y'all people wasn't as resilient and as strong as us, so they start dying. Heat strokes, being overworked. But we're resilient. We was able to endure. Oh, you want us to build some train tracks? We got it. You want us to pick this whole side of this cotton field? We got it. Y'all was dying. Research your history. So it's not that much different between us and you all that call yourself being Spanish. Oh, yeah, I'm Spanish. I speak. That's not your native tongue. And y'all talk about how we speak English, and y'all try to criticize us for speaking English, saying it's the white man language. What the fuck you think Spanish is? These people are outrageous, man. I can't believe this. This is crazy. Let's get back into the content. That shows the Latino community, right? Now it's getting bigger than Soreños and Southern California Hispanics. It's getting bigger than that. And if some of these Latinos or these Hispanics or Chicanos wasn't racist and their people not racist, why they're not more vocal about not being racist? Because if one of ours get on here and say something that's out of pocket, we gonna check them. They don't check their people. So your silence and your absence of utilizing your voice to speak against it, you're condoning it. Let's get back into the content, cuz.
Do it, we weren't there, and all the other stuff, right? But people who are not the usual suspects or don't look like the usual suspects, they have a lot to say about that. Now, those people are of the Hispanic community there in California. They're mad about it. They don't understand why they should be responsible for having to pay for that and all that. So I want y'all to watch this video that I actually saw.
But check this out, cuz this is the thing. When I say that this particular ethnic group are backstabbers, betrayers, listen to me. In the 1990s, Proposition 187, a lot of blacks made that pass because they voted in favor of it, right? And that was allowing immigrants to come over here, what they were calling them illegal aliens and all that. That was allowing immigrants from these Latino communities to come over here and get rights, to get medical, to get medical insurance, medical assistance, for the kids to be able to get free lunches in the public school, for them to get a plethora of rights that African Americans died, were in prison and fought for. These rights that you all are able to enjoy are our people died for, was in prison, beaten, brutalized for. So y'all Johnny come lately come over here and y'all got these rights that y'all didn't have to fight for, and now y'all want to turn on the people who made it possible for you to possess these rights? That's crazy. Proposition 187, blacks voted in favor of it. Everything that affected Latinos, blacks voted in favor of it. Now they want to backstab us and say, oh, no, you like what? I got video footage, and I'm going to share that with y'all. In the 1992 riots, when Los Angeles was still predominantly black, the Latinos, the Mexicans, the Spanish community or Hispanic community join in the rioting, the looting, and all that. Some blacks looking at them saying, man, they don't really look like us. They look more white. What's up? We on them. You can hear brothers saying, no, cuz, or no, blood. Don't fuck with the Mexicans. They out here trying to live like we are. So we always had compassion and a deep level of understanding for their trials and their tribulations, and we gave them compassion and empathy for that. But now that they get in a position to where they are rising up and they're having some type of political, they're having they are having political influence and political power, right? Now they want to turn their backs on the blacks that supported them. The blacks are open their communities up for them. When we move into predominantly Hispanic communities, we're not welcome there. This guy, this cocksucker Lefty Gunplay, and his racial statement and all that, he's from a community that's less than 10% black. So how do you have that much hostility, animosity, and hatred for blacks in your real life? Not this social media stuff and you trying to verbally masturbate African American males to get these features so that you can have relevance in the hip-hop community. No, your real life. You're racist. They're racist. They don't like us. They don't want us in the community. And I can't stop to emphasize the fact that in a housing projects in East LA, they were taking single family homes of black women and a few Hispanic females that had biracial kids, and they was cocktailing their homes, making them move up out of their community. You come to California, get an Airbnb in a room predominantly Hispanic community, and they're gonna let you know what you're doing over here. In word, we don't want you over here. We don't take too likely, we don't take too kindly to your kind. They're gonna let you know that they don't F with you. And it ain't just the Sereno. Sometimes it's their abuelas, their tios, their tias. It's gonna let you know what you doing over here. We don't want you over here. But it's crazy how they backstabbed us continuously. It's crazy how they say we blackwash everything, but what it seems like they're trying to do is whitewash everything. If we didn't, let's get back into the content.
On Brother Tariq Nasheed's page, so I want to give him credit for that. And then come on back.
There's a lot of stuff happening right here in this historic building behind me, also known as the California State Capitol. Right now, Democrats in this building are trying to ram through a bill that would establish a fund in the state treasury for reparations. The Reparations Task Force's recommendation is that African Americans in the state of California receive $800 billion in taxpayer-funded reparations. That'll be $1.2 million each. Senate Bill 1331, which would be the first step to getting this to happen, just passed out of the Assembly Appropriations Committee. That means once they can get it through the Assembly floor and to the governor for a signature, it becomes law. That's what State Senator Stephen Bradford wants to do. He wants California to take responsibility for discriminatory policies against African Americans, for slavery, for all these different things and all these different injustices that happened in our past. But let me remind everybody once again that California was a free state. And with the big budget deficit that we have, how would it make any sense to allow our government to basically multiply its budget by 2.5 times? First of all, they'd have to collect a lot of taxes to do this. And then how do we know it's going to get sent to the right place? Because with everything else, they're always messing up.
So as you heard him say, they're going to spend $800 billion of taxpayers' money to give to, Black Californians. And, it's going to raise the taxes and all this other stuff. It's like, man, if you don't be quiet, because you look like you just got over here, or your people anyway, not too long ago. But all of a sudden, y'all got so much to say. But do you have something to say when your people getting all that money? California just decided that they're going to pay $2.6 billion a year to help migrants with health care. You don't have nothing to say about that. You don't think that's going to be a tax burden? But Black people that are descendants of slavery finally getting what's due us, you mad about that? Talking about we going to get $1.2 million a piece, and that's the least they can do. They owe us way more than that.
They owe us.
But you mad about that? Are you mad when your people getting any and everything that they asked for? Are you mad about DACA? Are you mad about them getting housing and all kind of other stuff? I ain't heard y'all say a peep about that, but you mad that Black people gonna finally get what's owed to us? See, if they would have gave it to our ancestors when they got let off of that plantation, you wouldn't have nothing to say about it. The price tag would have been probably a lot smaller, but since white supremacy decided to rob our ancestors of what was due them, they owe it to us. Because everybody else has gotten what's due them, except for Black Americans, and we want our money. And guess what? Ain't nothing you could do about it. Oh.
Today's price is not yesterday's price. I'm just saying. They owe us this country. So 1.7 to Californians who can prove that they are descendants of slaves. That ain't shit, man. But the thing is, we need to create an action plan, an action committee, and potentially an investment group on how we can properly invest our money in one another. We need to stop buying the Louis Vuitton, the Gucci, and all that, the Balenciagas, these high-end luxury designers who have created wear and created advertisement that shows that they don't like Blacks. We need to start investing in one another, man. We need to start supporting Black businesses. Black businesses produce a Black economy. A Black economy produces Black wealth. We can all be millionaires if we start investing in one another. Let's segregate ourselves. Don't nobody like us. Everybody want to steal from us. Everybody want to try to exploit us. Let's segregate ourselves. Let's heal. Let's relearn and unlearn the things that they have been teaching us about ourselves. And this country, we have to teach each other. We have to be a self-taught people. I think they call it autodidactics. We got to get back to being self-taught, man, because what we have inside of us is connected to the universe, and all things will be revealed to us when we're vibrating on the right frequency and under the right tutelage of the Most High, or under the tutelage of the Most High and submitting to Mother Nature. We got to get back to being a spiritual, natural people. We can't continue to consume their diet, treat each other in a manner that they treated us. We got to stop replicating their behavior patterns. No, we got to get back to being who we are. We got to be in a position to define ourselves as who we see ourselves as being. We went from being colored, Negro, African American, and now they working on something else. This is crazy. We got to be able to define ourselves. We got to be able to strengthen and heal ourselves, and we got to be able to be independent and self-sufficient, man. Like, now is the time. But listen, man, I got some things that I got to do, so I got to get up off this thing, man. Y'all stay up. God bless y'all. Forgive me for going on my little hiatus. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm back. We cracking, and we gonna be creating some real good content, man. You feel what I'm saying? And the thing is just to kind of awaken the subconscious or things that we know that we don't implement and implicate. Now is the time. You feel what I'm saying? And the number one thing is we need to unify. We know we need to unify. The task is simple, but it ain't easy. The task is let's unify. And in 80% of our problems would dissipate. But it's not that easy for us to just unify because of the trauma, the preconditioning, the self-hatred that we have for ourselves and one another. You feel what I'm saying? Now it's time to get it together. But I'm about to get up off this thing, man. Y'all still be blessed, man. I appreciate y'all making it on your kin, folks. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to this channel, man, and let's get it cracking, man. Let's do what needs to be done, man. Let's get this information out there, man. Let's start building these think tanks, and let's get our brothers and sisters to start thinking outside the box, man. Stop thinking in the way of Europeans and whatnot. It doesn't work for us, man. We've been trying and it just doesn't work. DeAndre Mallory, what's up, man? Much love and respect. Yeah, man. Much love and respect to you as well. Much love and respect to everybody that has been tuning in and supporting your player party, man. Y'all step and be blessed, man. I'm a part of this thing. But I can't leave without saying, too black, too strong. We all we need, we all we got, man. I'm gone.